Hey everybody, good morning. Samwise Raridon Community herbalist here. And today we're talking about our herb of the month, which is garlic. I love garlic. I always use way more garlic than is called for, but that's because I know that it has some pretty powerful properties that I'm excited to share with you. So garlic is really strongly antimicrobial. There have been times throughout history in different cultures where folks have turned towards this plant to be like an antibiotic of sorts. It's really powerful antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, anti-parasite as well. So really helpful to deter also insects like mosquitoes. And yeah, it has a lot of other properties, especially depending on whether it's raw, which really brings out its immune function, or whether it's cooked, which really brings out its cardiovascular and like heart support, and it's like cholesterol regulating support when it's cooked. I love it raw. Some people are like, that's too spicy. And for those folks, I really encourage, especially if you're consuming it right away, a little bit of like oil or butter will cut the spiciness like right down so that it's much more palatable to eat raw. And when you eat it raw, a good trick is to chop it up real fine so it breaks up the cell wall of the garlic, and then let it sit for like 10-15 minutes or so to let these chemical constituents in the garlic activate, which only really happens when the cell wall is broken and exposed to the air, and that really potentiates, or that really like heightens the immune function of the garlic, which we eat raw garlic every morning on top of our like congee inspired savory porridge breakfast. And we haven't gotten sick yet, so knock on wood. Yeah, there's also things that go into that, like we take elder, but yeah, the garlic is like a really big immune support for us, that, and we take it every day, like a clove every day, chopped up. So what else about garlic? It's a hypotensive, so it can help lower blood pressure overall, like especially like it can help prevent high blood pressure. A lot of this around garlic is great, like preventative, like kitchen witchery medicine that can like prevent help prevent arteriosclerosis. So it's like there's chemicals in garlic and like plant bits in the garlic. That's meow meow. That's Artemis. That can help prevent the clotting, and also help prevent the like making the lipid components, the fat components in blood get too sticky and stick to the side of the vein or the artery. That's called arteriosclerosis. I think I'm saying that right. Arthrosclerosis. I always see it in print. I'm like, my brain. And yeah, so that can help. Garlic can help prevent strokes, clots, heart attack, and yeah, in general, like hypertension, which is like high blood pressure. So yeah, I'm looking through my notes. The reason that I really want to talk about it is, well, there's a lot of reasons I want to talk about it, but the big one is that it's a really powerful antimicrobial. It's very common, right? You can get it at the grocery store for pretty cheap. And it's kind of a specific for antimicrobials in the lungs, which I think is really important these days as we're dealing with really nasty respiratory viruses that get passed through droplets in the air. So garlic in particular, as an antiviral and antimicrobial, is really well situated to the lungs, right? We've heard of garlic breath, right? That's actually the plant's volatile oils expressing through the lungs. And so what I like about that is that here's this like very strong antimicrobial plant aliveness that's expressing through the lungs and like meeting this energy of virus or pathogen right where it would like to situate, and saying, no, you cannot land here. That's my cat who wants to go outside, but she can't because they're surfacing the street. I know, Mama. Cats can't have garlic, as far as I can tell. There's sort of like differing viewpoints on whether dogs and cats can have garlic, and I like to play it safe and just not give it to them. So, no, Mama, you cannot have garlic. Yeah, there's also varying reports throughout like history. There's like very old, ancient herbal texts that talk about cancer as being anti-tumor. And that can mean a lot of different things, because like our understanding of what causes tumors has shifted a lot over time. So, you know, and there is a lot of like contemporary research on cancer with garlic as a way to treat or prevent. And what I found in my research, and I'm pulling this from David Hoffman, who's like a respected herbal writer and researcher, that the studies that he's found indicate helping to prevent like gut cancer, like lining of the intestines. And again, we have that like helping to like that quality of garlic that helps prevent things from sticking to other things, and like again like letting things go. And that kind of brings me to some of like the magical properties of garlic, that and like spiritual properties that are very much about protection and supporting folks with transition and supporting people and entities that are at the crossroads. So, and yeah, lots of stories about like protection against things like entities, evil entities that would like suck you dry, like your energy and your life force dry. And that makes me think about, well, first that made me think about mold, and because garlic is really strongly antifungal, and mold or fungus, and I'm thinking of my very basic understanding of TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, ways of thinking about mold is like a possession. Like here's this entity that has consciousness that's pulling your energy and feeding off your energy, kind of like a vampire, right? And like, yeah, treating mold as this way of like respecting its sentience and respecting this quality of like drawing off another person's energy. So I really like that. I really like that garlic is seen as like protective against that force of like drawing. And one can also say too, like I don't know too much about the energy of cancer. It's not something I've worked directly with as an herbalist yet. But I imagine too this energy of like drawing life force to it, like a tumor would draw like the body's resources. Again, having this kind of quality of kind of this like vampiric or like this like drawing, like sucking energy. And so garlic is seen as protective of both of that. So yeah, garlic is like huge in lore for many cultures. It's like regarded as really powerful for many cultures across time. I'm gonna kind of try to focus on my lineages, and then later next week I'm gonna have I'm really excited to have Jess Garcia of Herbal Action Network to come and talk on the podcast about garlic and share some about how garlic figures in their Aztec and Mexican lineages. So yeah, I'm really excited to get to talk more about it in depth there. So check it out on the podcast, Herb at the End of the World. But for now, I want to talk a little bit about like Greek and Celtic and kind of like those lineages that my lineages kind of border and share. And so garlic is sacred to the goddess Hecate. People say this name in different ways. That's kind of the way I like it. There's Hecate. I kind of like Hecate. Kind of sounds like Tecate, but I don't know. Yeah, so garlic at the crossroads, you would like give an offering of garlic to Hecate, who is the goddess of wilderness and childbirth. And yeah, so that would be like an offering to this goddess, and also a deterrent and like a confusion for other like demons or like confusing negative entities that would confuse you at the crossroads. So similarly, like we see garlic used in this like very protective way, and right now I'm kind of talking about like Greek traditions that I was finding in my research, but not to say all the other cultures don't do this. It just that's what I've been finding to sort of ground it. So hanging garlic in birthing rooms as well. So, and having garlic present at death, present at like the transition between life and death. So like garlic at the doorway of these gates of like death and rebirth is considered very protective. And like letting in like the life force that we want to let in, but keeping out those entities that might prey off this transition energy. And yeah, similarly, in Celtic traditions, garlic is used in Samhain rituals, which is very much about, like, as far as I know, like communicating across the veil, like with spirits of ancestors that have passed. So sprinkling some garlic across the threshold before inviting in the spirits of these crossed ancestors to come in and feast will keep out the ancestors that need some boundaries and bring in the ancestors that we want to celebrate with us. And then, yeah, I'm really interested in this, like, recognition of garlic as protective against things that would be, like, sucking dry or like infective, or like that kind of like preying off that energy. So we see lots of stories about garlic deterring mosquitoes, and like because it's very pungent, it's very aromatic. So we see people hanging garlic as a way to dissuade mosquitoes, and then mosquitoes in I'm pulling from my research with Greek traditions. Mosquito bites were known as, and like diseases that were spread by mosquito bites were known as like a touch of the vampire, because you get these bites and then you fall ill. And so again, the garlic deterring the mosquitoes is deterring this like vampiric energy. So I think that's pretty cool. And then, yeah, in general, garlic being just like really protective, wearing it, hanging it over the doorway, as a way to protect the home and increase the vitality of the people living within. So that's a little bit about what I found with garlic. I hope that inspires you to get to know this humble yet powerful herbal ally that probably lives somewhere in your house, and if it doesn't, perhaps you're inspired to go get some. I did want to say too that garlic is like great for folks who are like trying to prevent getting sick and also like currently sick. So if you're currently getting sick, Hoffman recommends eating 3 cloves a day. So that might be kind of intense. There's some contraindications with garlic too that I should mention. That sometimes raw garlic for folks on their stomach lining can be kind of upsetting. So in that case, maybe like eating a bunch of, something else to help kind of cushion the landing of the garlic in the belly, or just kind of noting that and seeing how that shows up for you. And if it's too irritating to not take it. Lots of garlic too can have, again, this quality of like preventing clots. So if you're already on medication that is blood thinning, you might want to watch that, because it can potentiate or make stronger the blood thinning medication, which could lead to like bleeding if you encounter something that makes you bleed. So just a heads up on that. And yeah, so and in that way, like if you're planning, before and after surgery, you would want to have a lot of garlic because of this quality of like kind of like preventing clotting. So you want to be able to heal up after surgery. So yeah, that's it for now. I'm really excited to dig a lot deeper with garlic's spiritual and magical uses, connotations, traditions. I have a lot of respect for this plant, and I'm really excited to dig in deeper with it with Jess Garcia. And yeah, I'm excited to share some recipes and some more thoughts around this really powerful plant and accessible plant for these times. So with that, I want to thank our patrons that make all of this work possible, and give a big shout out to our patrons: Kathleen Moritz, Marguerite Wilson, Tatiana Koga, Heather Enders, Jax Walter, Melissa Moldovan, Serafina Cohen, Felix Pop, Sonura Dewa, Anna Fratellillo, Anna Wicker and Lowe, Ellie Minkin, Deborah Spangler, S.M. Cranston, Monica Lacerdo, Karen Ram, Gloria Park, Adrian Wilson, Rose Rothbetter, Susan Raridan, Gaia, Gaia, Essenston, Bonnie Rose Weaver, Brittany Hall, and Seed Minkin. So thanks so much for joining me today. Really look forward to digging deeper, learning more, and yeah, for more, go and check out the rest on my Patreon, and hope to see you next time.